doing crafting for Kimberly. So everybody, I come up with a different project. Making this little moon mirror. I'm going to show, we're also videoing on the Zoom for those of you at home. So hello at home. That's what we're making. But we're making, the kit comes with the big one. So we're doing the big one, that's the mini one. It's project. You could hang it on your wall. I did not include in the kits, I did not include hooks to hang it. My suggestion would be those flat poster command strips for posters, but do quite a few. And just a trick, I'll probably get in trouble saying this online, but do not use command hooks that have the clear backing. They look fantastic on the wall, and they will look fantastic on the wall when everything you put on it falls onto the ground. They're horrible. So if you're going to get the command strips, don't get the clear ones, get the white ones to go up on the wall. Or what I really like is you can get these little plate holders, photo holders. They do have these at the Dollar Tree in all different sizes, big ones, little ones. So I kind of like it just like that, and then you can move it around, put it wherever you'd like. Try to do crafts that are not expensive. Crafting on a budget, it's always fun. You can always take it and make it bougie if you want, you know, put more expensive stuff in it, but it's always great to be able to say, well, what can I do on a budget? You know, people say, I can't craft, I don't have anything. Well, yeah, you can. You really can do this. If you have a mirror at home, you can do it. A round mirror is great because it looks like the moon. Sometimes at the Dollar Tree, they have the smaller ones. We bought these on Amazon so we could get a bunch of big ones. I do know they have them at Michael's and some of the other craft stores. You can get the bigger mirrors. And if you did it on just a square mirror, you could, you know, use that as like a frame and still just do the circle in there. And what we're going to be doing is the half moon, because this project, a young girl had either purchased one or made one. I really don't know what the original thing was, but it was so she could take selfies of herself of being the girl on the moon, the woman in the moon. So that was actually why they had that. And then, you know, the internet just kind of blew up with it for those of us that craft, saying, oh, this is fantastic. We don't want to take pictures of it. We just want to make it. So that's why you can actually do whatever you want. If you want to do a full half moon, you can do that. If you want to do a small full moon in the middle and have the mirror be around it and be a frame, you can do that. If you want to do the crescent moon, and obviously it's right-handed, left-handed, either or. So it's really whatever you want to do. I am going to do the crescent moon, so that's how I'm going to do it. But like I said, if you want to make it a whole or a half, do that. Another really cool thing I found was at Walmart. I'm sure other places have it, but at Walmart, they have these wall stickers. And there were multiple ones in there, and they had different sizes. So one started about this size and then smaller and smaller. And I actually made another one for my daughter where we did the full moon in the middle, and then the halves, and then the crescents on the side. So that's kind of neat too. And they were pretty inexpensive. So there's a lot you can do. Compact mirrors, if you have any old makeup, compact mirrors, that would be cute to do it. So there's lots of things you can do with it. We're using all-purpose caulk. We got this at the Dollar Tree. I found caulk works the best. Some people are using modeling paste, pretty expensive. Modeling paste, when you do it to paint, to give yourself some texture on there, it's really expensive. You can also make your own modeling paste. So I don't know if it's going to stick to the mirror really well or not. I'm not sure because I didn't use it. I did buy spackling. They had, when we weren't getting these into our local Dollar Tree, they had these little tiny containers about this big of spackle compound. So if you have a hole in your wall, you spackle it up so no one sees the hole anymore. Do not use that. It does not work. It does not be the same. It stayed very chalky and it would kind of peel. So if you were just going to set it off and like never touch it again, then I think you'd be okay. But I think if you were going to have it up on the wall where there was chance of somebody going by it or doing anything, I just wouldn't suggest that. I really like this. This is just basic all-purpose caulk. Plus, what's nice about it, it dries like this kind of beigey, whitishy gray color. And if you look at the moon, it's not, you know, pure white. Everybody thinks the moon is pure white. It's not. It's kind of that off-white, beigey kind of color. So this just really works well for it. So I needed a mirror, a tube of caulk, any kind of gems. They're cabochons. They're actually, these little ones are made for, you either can put it in a necklace and you put a picture behind it, you can paint behind it, you can use wrapping paper behind it. It kind of makes things, blows it up a little bit, kind of enlarges it. So they're really made for jewelry for that purpose, but they work great for this. I'm using them as craters in the moon. So we're going to kind of make our own. Also, I know at the Dollar Tree and any store pretty much has these, just the different colored gems. I chose to give you for your kit just the clear and just the white, because in my mind, that's the moon, clear and white. I do have, for those that are here in class, I do have a bucket here of gems. If you want yellow, if you want blue, if you want red, you know, who's to say? Whatever colors that you want to put in there, if you want to, you know, a psychedelic moon and some cool colors, that's fine. It's your project. You do what you want. But for the kit, we just decided to go with the clear. That I made, I obviously have different gems than what's included. I don't think that's picking up. I took Mod Podge glitter, like the extreme glitter, and painted it on because I just wanted it to be really sparkly. I just thought that was a cute look. So at any time you can add Mod Podge or glitter paint. You can paint it, whatever you choose to want to do with it, you can. This project, we're just going to go straight. Again, at home, I don't know if you're really seeing this, I did the flat cabochons. I also have some round beads. I make jewelry, so I had a whole bunch of different crystal beads. So you can put round ones in there, and everybody has a marble. It's going to work in there. If you had sequins, you could put sequins in. And then what also we're doing to get the craters is if you want to take the gems, kind of stick it on there, roll it around a little bit, and then take it off, that'll make a crater. Take your finger, move it around, push it around, you can do that. You don't have to wear gloves. When I did this at home, I did not wear gloves. It washes right off. I would say don't get it on your clothing if you can help it. I can't guarantee that, but it washes right off with your hands. Simple. You're going to take whatever mirror you have. We have this one. You're going to open up your caulk. For those of you at home, you do have to cut the top of this once you take the cap off. You do have to cut the top because it is sealed. You just take it, snip it, let it go flying, and you have your caulk. Now the really hard part, draw your outline. That's it. Just kind of take your caulk, start squeezing. I found it easier to do kind of my elongated C. That's kind of how I see a crescent. I see it kind of like a C. I went to the middle of what I thought was the middle, like probably here and here, and I started there and then just kind of went in like this. And if you go a little skinnier than what you want, that's better, because it really does mirror, you can take it off. There's no problem with getting it off at all. But if you start out a little thinner, then you can build up where you want it to go. And you just start squeezing on. It doesn't have to be super thick, but you want it to be thick enough that when you put your gems in, it's going to hold your gems. So you're basically just going to start drawing it in there. I'm going to try to do this, see if I can do this sideways for the camera. So I'm going to kind of start in the middle. And I'm just going to say, all right, I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to keep going, squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. I think that's about the middle. So I just kind of drew just a fine line to start with. Now, because I did this sideways and kind of almost upside down, this definitely is not the shape that I want, but that gives you the idea of drawing it on there. So now, because that's not where I want it to go, I'm going to just start filling in, but at least I know kind of where I want to go. You may need 2 hands. You can actually just, put the tip right down on the mirror, because you can see my different wavy lines. Right here is where I had the tip actually on the mirror as I was squeezing out. Here is where I had it holding up above. You really, to be able to squeeze it, it's really hard to squeeze in a straight line. So if you just put it right on the mirror and then squeeze as you go. And as I said, if I don't want that there, I'm going to be able to just kind of take my finger, move it in. I went to go get some paper towels. I'm not sure, but if you have paper towels at home, you just wipe it. If you have your rubber gloves here, just wipe it with your glove. And you're just squeezing on thick. And you wouldn't think one of these tubes would do it, but it does. I had a lot left over. We made our tip a little bit bigger to make it a little easier to spread out. It always cut it smaller than what you think you need, because you can't put it back on. So once you cut it, it's done. So cut it smaller, and if it's a really hard time squeezing out, then just cut the tip bigger. This will take probably, I would give it a good day to dry. Once you get your gems in it, keep it laying flat, and just let it dry for about a day. Check on it the next day and see if it's kind of tacky. If it's caulk is really dry, then you're good. If it's still a little tacky and still a little soft and you can really push your fingers in it, well, then I would say let it dry a little bit more. When you are ready to put the camera, when you're ready to put your gems in, you just decide where you want one, plop it down, move it around, and it's in. By pushing it in, because as long as you've given yourself maybe like a 1/4 of an inch gap, it's going to stay in there. So you can see I can hold this upside down. It's not going anywhere. It's going to stay right in there. And if it's not staying kind of where you want it, just build it up. Just move your finger, build it up and around. Yeah, craters, if you don't want everything to have a gem in it, because the moon has quote unquote craters, not gems. So I put gems in there. Then I took my finger and I made little holes around where the caulk is. I just move, like you take it and you just kind of go like that. Go around in a circle a few times, push it back with your finger, make yourself, I circle it around like that, make yourself a hole. So that's the way to do your craters. You can also take your gem, push it in there, pull your gem back out. That will make a hole. So I like the way it looks with holes, without holes. And that's really all there is to it. I'm going to just keep Again, you're taking it, you're squeezing it in little circles, just getting it out. To get the pattern that you want, just take it and move it around. So you're going to take it. You're going to, so that'll be a break. And then back on. We're going to take it and we're going to just squeeze in little circles like this. And then that's going to give you the pattern that you want. And you're going to do it about a 1/4 inch thick. Put your gems on and you are all set. Another good thing to do too, if you're having a hard time pushing the caulk out, take your edge and start rolling it. I mean, think of it like a tube of toothpaste. So take your edge, just kind of roll it up a little bit. It'll be like an icing bag. And then you'll have the air out of it and you'll have more room to push it around. Because you're not going to have gems covering the entire part of it. So really, the only place you really need it to be super thick is where you're going to have a gem. So like I put a big glob in the middle kind of here. And now I'm just taking that and I'm pushing it down. Because then what you can do is once you get it covered, and then you have the idea of where you want to put your gems, you can squeeze more in there. So once you get your basic covering of it, but it's definitely easier once you start using the tube to do it like the tube of toothpaste and squeeze the edge down. I definitely want to just kind of move it around. If you want your crater to show through the mirror, that's cool too. Just take your tip, just keep making your circle bigger and bigger, and you can have part of the mirror showing through with your crater if you want. You know, it's your creativity, whatever you want to do with it. You want the whole thing covered, or have part showing. I'm noticing, because we're doing this outside, that it is drying a little faster than it does dry at home. So when I did this inside, it didn't seem to dry as quickly. But it wasn't blowing on me. I can never get where it's blowing on me. It probably would dry it faster too. You know, if you had a fan blowing on you as well, you know, it's going to give a little bit of that drying. That's right. You can see how I'm just going through, swirling this around, getting myself covered where I need it. And then you hold it back a little bit, you know, just look at it, decide to see, all right, where do I need more? Do I like my angle of the moon? Do I want it curved more? You can see I just, you know, I've got it all there. If I want a piece to be higher, I just swirl it around. So you can really get some really neat texture as you're moving it around. Forget to make some craters, because I think that looks really cool. So I just kind of stuck mine in, kind of hard to see. I just kind of stuck mine in randomly. And again, if you want glitter on there, you can use glitter. You can use the glitter Mod Podge. You can use glitter paint. Now I'm going to just take my finger. I'm like, oh, I want a crater there. So I'm just going to see, I can just push it around, build up my edge to make a good circle. These craters would be round, the impact of it. So that gives a little bit more texture that way. And you can see like this is almost starting to dry a little bit. Yeah. And then if you know, you should have definitely one. This is a much bigger mirror than I did my first one with. and obviously much bigger than my sample that I used. And I'd say the other one was probably maybe 2 inches smaller than this one. I had half a tube of caulk left. So already I'm pretty happy with my thickness, and I still have probably a quarter of a tube of caulk left. And then you can build up. It will shrink a little bit. When it dries, it will go down just a little bit. I did not lose any of the gems that I put in. Again, you want to have this dry flat for a good 24 hours based on the humidity. See how it's doing. If it's really humid, it may not dry as fast, so then let it sit and dry for a little bit while longer. If you get any on your mirror, on the mirror part of it where you don't want it to be, you can just scrape it off with your finger. You can also take a wet paper towel and it'll rub off. So I mean, you could definitely get this back off your mirror if you decide, you know, after a while, oh, I don't want a moon mirror anymore. I just really want the mirror. You probably could get it all the way off. Whether what kind of residue it would leave, I'm not sure. But if you the gems, like if you have a marble, anything thicker, make sure you've got a lot of caulk around it. So like it's okay to have lower flat pieces where you're not putting a gem, but wherever you're putting a gem, make sure it's a little thicker there so it can get in and push down in and it comes up and around it. Like these, you can see I pushed it down and around. I got some on my gem, so I'm just going to push it off. The gem there, I don't want my gem there, so I'm picking it up and moving it. So you got a lot of room, wiggle room of what you want to do with things. As I said, for texture, being able to do the texture, really using the tube works out great. And I would go right to the edge of your mirror because it is going to shrink a little bit. So you do kind of want it to go right to your edge. Yeah, outside we have bugs crawling on them, which is cool. So I kind of like mine. I think it's done. So you can see, hard to see with the angle of the, that's what it looks like. Pretty cool.